All right, good morning, everybody. It's 10 a.m. Let's get started. So welcome to Navient CCG's webinar on robotic process automation. Robotic process automation has been around for years. In fact, IT professionals now see it as a key technology to improve efficiencies. Hyland has taken this idea and created an easily configurable system that will allow users to reduce their time spent on processing repetitive data or performing tasks that take away from a user's ability to do their job at peak performance. Before we dive into the webinar, here's a quick snapshot of the team's composition. You have from left to right myself, Chuck Hamby, Dave Dodge, James Ondak, Jennifer Henquinet, Jennifer Siegel, Terry Starkey, Drew Bolak, Nick Albanese, and our supervisor, Paul Kegler. Not pictured is our new manager of software solutions and support, Greg Albert. The only change to this is that our wonderful Jennifer Henquinet has moved from the CCG support team over to a full-time project role as an architect and integration consultant within the Navient group. Some quick housekeeping notes for everyone. During the webinar, the audience will be muted. However, the chat will be available for comments and questions. At the end of the webinar, a survey will be sent out. Please fill that out and let us know how we're doing, and if you have any suggestions for future content you'd like to see. If you'd like to view past webinars, those are available for request at navient.com/resources/video. Here's a brief overview of what we'll be going over in the webinar today. First off, we'll have an introduction to some of the terminology that will be used throughout the presentation, a roll-up of Hyland's Process Automation Suite, their newest offering, the Task Automator, a high-level view of setting up the Task Automator, and a chance to gather any questions that you may have. To start reviewing robotic process automation, commonly referred to as RPA, we'll begin with a few explanations of terms you'll hear throughout today's presentation. The term bot, or digital user, will be used often as I walk you through Hyland's RPA offering. And unlike what may come to mind in this instance, a bot is an engine or piece of software that will perform pre-designated activities necessary to complete a task. Hyland is making use of bots to perform tasks inside and outside of OnBase. A bot can allow for unattended two-way integration between applications such as OnBase and other third-party applications. Bots can run in the background, freeing up valuable time for users to continue performing their daily tasks. Bots are not meant to replace human workers, but to supplement them and increase their effectiveness and productivity. Much like a movie storyboard that lays out the major plot lines of a movie, the storyboards in RPA lay out the sequence of events and actions that need to occur. This enables the bots to perform tasks and to be trained to perform the work it is assigned. A knowledge worker is another term you will hear often when reviewing RPA and its implementation into business processes. This is referring to the human element in the decision-making process. Also, during this presentation, we'll use the term AI when describing the software's ability to learn from user input. Hyland has many products that currently provide some form of automation for their users. They provide a means of automation within each of these key business processes, using modules and features like advanced capture and brainware for your capture solutions, auto foldering, document composition and workflow to aid in the management of documents with users, integrations that include application enabler and enterprise integration server or web services publishing, reporting dashboards, which can measure pretty much anything one could want within OnBase. Reporting dashboards can also report on other third-party databases via custom queries. And lastly, records management and document retention for stored documents and data. Hyland's newest offering introduces robotic process automation into OnBase. It's called the Hyland Task Automator. Task Automator will be the first representation of RPA in the OnBase software suite. Task Automator creates integrations with OnBase and other third-party applications. It complements existing OnBase integration technologies and is useful for creating integrations with previously inaccessible applications. This is because it works at the UI or user interface level. OnBase Task Automator accelerates digital processes by automating manual and repetitive tasks. Task Automator performs clicks and keystrokes faster and more accurately than humanly possible. Integration between business systems is simplified, eliminating screen switching and duplicate data entry. Configuration is low to no code for a quick implementation and easy maintenance. This module allows you to create a digital workforce and facilitates the interaction between systems, utilizing bots to perform clicks and keystrokes. Task Automator uses these bots to perform configured tasks with or without human intervention. So depending on your business need, you can either implement bots to aid and increase the efficiency of your knowledge workers, or to work independently performing large-scale back-office tasks. These bots are a form of AI. They can be trained to make decisions based on user input when exceptions occur to better handle them moving forward. These bots can also record and repeat the movements of human users, performing actions like mouse clicks, keystrokes, shortcuts, and function keys. The bots follow the created storyboard and complete a set of predetermined actions, reducing the processing time needed per document. And just like OnBase Workflow, Custom Capture Process Designer, and WorkView, the Task Automator is configured within OnBase Studio, giving you an easy-to-use visual representation of your storyboard. Task Automator features the ability to learn on the job. It learns by observing human users, performing the process, and then leverages a digital user or a bot to perform the process going forward. Learned processes can be modified and managed by a human administrator. What's great about an RPA offering from Hyland is that it works natively in OnBase and extends the OnBase suite of integration and process automation tools that you already have in place, such as Workflow and Application Enabler. RPA can enhance these existing features by adding process storyboards for automating tasks. Storyboards can be executed manually or can be triggered by OnBase workflow timers or through a command line. The bots are always aware, and the recovery feature ensures that if one of the target applications or websites is not responding, the bot will reset and try again. The verification feature allows the administrator to select a control within the target user interface, or UI, to ensure the web page or application has completely loaded. Additionally, mouse anchors identify controls in the target UI that you are currently executing on, so the bot can direct cursor or focus, even if the screen resolution changes or the layout changes. The bot works well with humans or by itself. Bots can be deployed in attended or unattended mode, depending on your business needs. Attended bots can be deployed on workstations to assist employees with tasks within the context of their business processes. Unattended bots can be deployed independently of the employees to run batch processes on virtual machines or physical servers. Obviously, increased efficiency and accuracy is always welcome, and a bot doesn't get bored, distracted, or have a need to multitask or prioritize activities, making this probably the most easily recognized benefit of RPA. The bot does exactly what the storyboard tells it to do, and it does it tirelessly and without errors over and over again. The benefit to the workers themselves cannot be underestimated. The employee satisfaction and experience is greatly improved. With bots taking on the dreary, repetitive, mind-numbing tasks, the knowledge worker is freed up to attend to more interesting work and complete higher value tasks. Higher levels of engagement can result in improved job satisfaction for the employees and better human capital utilization and reduced employee turnover for the employers. The ability to access and process sensitive data without human involvement reduces the risk of exposure and enables defensible audit trails and chain of custody, improving information security, compliance, and disaster recovery. RPA can also improve business continuity and disaster recovery as copies of core processes can be backed up and restored off-site. OnBase does an excellent job at maintaining an audit trail of all actions taken by all users within OnBase. But what about when those users navigate away from OnBase to interact with other business-critical applications? Well, unlike a human worker, all actions of a bot are recorded, even when it leaves the line of business application. With Task Automator, all of the bot's actions are recorded. What buttons are clicked, what data is entered, and what data is retrieved. Having every click and every data entry logged allows for more complete audit trails and also makes processes easier to observe, analyze, and optimize. Because RPA works at the level of the user interface, there's a significant reduction in coding and development usually required for integration and customization. The simplified deployment and reduced reliance on IT allows business groups the agility to easily deploy new bots as business needs evolve, and frees up IT resources for more demanding initiatives. Because RPA from Hyland is simple to deploy and roll out, your organization can start recovering ROI right away. Additionally, the cost to entry can be relatively low and the time to realize efficiencies very short. Market analysts are reporting a 30 to 200% return on investment in just the first year. Additionally, with the right tool, deployment can be very simple. Here's an example of some of the things that Task Automator can streamline for users. Once initiated, Task Automator can start up an application on the user's workstation and execute keystrokes to run queries and return results. Task Automator can also perform mouse actions within an application for the user, things like clicking a button and navigating to the appropriate screen. It can copy and paste data from one application to another. Some functional use cases for this are things like manual tasks, things like navigating to a web application to get data. This functionality is similar to Application Enabler, except that the bot is able to follow the storyboard and navigate to the applicable screens and data without user interaction. Rule-based situations like interfacing with a legacy system is more of your conditional formatting when parameters are met that the Task Automator will execute its storyboard. High volume uses for processing large quantities of similar data and repetitive situations of entering the same data over and over again that can be boring for a human user. These are excellent use cases for removing repetitive tasks from your knowledge user's workload, freeing them up to perform more mission-critical functions. In this example use case, one of your business processes involves having to go out to a website that contains credentials for a healthcare provider, and the employee needs to place those credentials in OnBase for later retrieval or verification. So here on the right, we can see the user has a document in OnBase workflow and now needs to look up the information on a public website for additional indexing. To do so, they have to leave OnBase, open a browser or application, and navigate to the page they need. They have to enter the query text and then execute the query, select the current record from the results list, copy the text for each and every value, paste each value into the indexing pane in OnBase, and then click Save. This can take over 2 minutes for each record. Now imagine that knowledge worker has dozens of these a day to complete. This is where RPA comes in. For this example use case, this can be easily completed by a Task Automator bot, freeing up a human worker to continue with their daily task of verifying the provider's credentials and ensuring that others are up to date. Here we can see the Task Automator. and the user would initiate the Task Automator in workflow. Then the Task Automator copies the value to search and continues on. You can see as it's being executed. It'll then navigate out to the website, insert the data, search for it, perform the necessary clicks to navigate through the site. Values will then be scraped from the screen and then copied over and placed into OnBase in the workflow to complete the indexing on that document. Now that the storyboard's been created, the document is fully indexed in workflow. You can now select multiple documents. You don't have to have just one at a time. Click on Process Storyboard, and the Task Automator will just take over from there. Continue to copy those data values, get all the information you need, finish the processing on each and every one of these, and it only takes seconds per record. That's a huge savings of time. So, how does it work? A bot monitors activities, and here we can see the process of the human user that is being observed by the bot. Essentially, it's being trained to perform the task of inserting data, calculating that data, and then moving the pertinent information from the first business application to the second. From there, the bot is now trained and can perform the same task over and over again, even if the data changes. The bot is able to take the new information and insert and move it as needed. Then click the Submit button without the user having to constantly monitor its progress. Then it moves to the next instance and performs the function again, and the next, continuing to perform its task without prompting. But what happens when the data is not always the same? Well, bots are very good at performing repetitive rule-based tasks. They will not get bored, and they don't make mistakes. However, they don't handle exceptions very well. When they encounter an exception, they can alert the user, who in turn can teach the robot how to deal with the new input. Then it's back to business, and the bot can remember the decision it has made. So here you can see that there is an orange circle. This is a rule that it's looking for. And then you also have a gray square, gray or black square. And this is what the bot is looking for. So it receives an invoice and it begins to process it. But it has a question. It doesn't know how to process a gray circle or that invoice. So it alerts the user. The user is then able to say, this kind of thing goes that direction, goes with the orange circles. And it continues to follow that. It sees something else similar, says it goes right there with it. Sees the next data, notices that it matches, switches directions, and continues to push the data the direction it needs to go. This is just one way that you can help to use a bot to automate a process to push things around. We see this a lot with integrations with workflow, and this just makes it a little bit easier. Task Automator can be attended, which centers around cooperation with an organization's employees to complete tasks efficiently. It can complete low-value, repetitive components of business processes alongside a human worker within the context of that process. Attended bots are most commonly run on workstations. Unattended, Task Automator enables automation with as little human intervention as possible. Bots can be triggered to run batch processes without human intervention, often in larger scale back-office applications. Unattended bots are usually deployed on virtual machines with the help of a centralized deployment tool. So how do we set up and configure a bot for Task Automator? We use the familiar interface of OnBase Studio. And here you can see the interface looks very similar. And as most of you are already familiar with OnBase Studio, it offers a great visual representation when configuring the existing automation modules, such as OnBase Workflow. Configuration of the Task Automator occurs within Studio as well. Once licensed for Hyland RPA, you will have an additional Robot Process Automation tab within Studio. This will then give you access to these unique ribbon menu options and tasks. Feature highlights include the record button. This records the user's movements on a screen so that Task Automator can replicate them. The verification button. By selecting a control within the UI, this helps to ensure the web page or application has loaded completely and successfully. And then mouse anchors. These are used to control the UI, so the bot can direct the cursor or the focus. In Section A here at the top is the Task Automator ribbon, accessed by clicking the Task Automator tab. This is composed of ribbon groups: New, Test, Record, Storyboard, View, Storyboard Action, Task Automators, and Branch. These ribbon groups contain buttons used to perform various tasks. Section B is the Repositories pane, shown here with the Task Automator tab selected. This pane lists the created storyboards and their assigned values. The Repositories pane also contains a Find field for searching storyboards, much like what you're used to seeing with Workflow or WorkView. Section C is the Values and Local Data pane. It lists the data being used when testing of a storyboard occurs. Section D is the screenshot of the currently selected action. This depicts the state of the application before the action is performed. Section E is the screenshot of the following action. This depicts the state of the application after that action is performed. Section F is the thumbnail viewer. This is the storyboard view we've been mentioning. All of the actions in the storyboard or selected branch, if multiple branches exist, are displayed in sequential order left to right as thumbnails, with the currently selected action centered. Section G is the branch viewer. It's displayed by default if the open storyboard has multiple branches. The path of the branch currently being viewed is colored blue, with alternate branches colored gray. Mouse over each one of those, and you'll see the preview of actions within the different branches. And you can select an action to switch the branch containing it, just like editing a video. Section H is the Properties pane. It contains tabs with configuration options for the selected storyboard, value, or action. So, what is the storyboard creation process? And essentially, we can break this down to the following 7 steps. First, we set up the storyboard, assign the values needed for the storyboard, and use those values by the storyboard to hold, manipulate, and pass data between OnBase and the automated application. Next, we record the actions for the basic storyboard. We perform these steps required to complete the process the storyboard will automate. As you enter keystrokes or mouse clicks, each action, along with a screenshot of the application, is recorded and displayed in the storyboard viewer. Next, we'll configure the action properties. This is where we check and correct the accuracy of those recorded keystrokes, mouse clicks, and functions. Then we'll configure the value mappings. Here we define how configured values and local data elements should be populated during storyboard execution. This is like asking the question of where are we moving the data from and where is it going to? Next, we'll configure the action verification, and using a recorded value or a trigger as an indicator, this will show that the action was successful. This is going to answer the questions of, is this action completed as expected? And then ask the questions of, what is the next action I need to perform? Step 6, we'll test, and test again. In OnBase Studio, we can test individual actions, set test actions, view and edit data for our elements, and add or remove breakpoints to troubleshoot. We can create additional options for more complex storyboards. And now that we have our basic framework, we can insert additional features to perform decision-making actions, reiterate actions, or loop, and prompt users' input, along with many other options and exceptions. So to wrap up, our core features of various aspects of OnBase are getting standardized. The ability to leverage existing infrastructure and applications will become critical. The RPA tools that you have should enhance systems that are already in use. Task Automator complements these existing applications and modules. Most of these automated processes are specific to their feature, application, or process, such as government, healthcare, insurance, etc. Task Automator looks to integrate those vertical automations to create a seamless automation process and add value to the Hyland automation profile. So, ask yourself a few of these questions. Do you have a repetitive business process that could benefit from automation? Do you have large amounts of similar data that needs to be processed efficiently? Do you have users that have talents that are being hampered by manual processes? If so, engage with one of your Navient account reps to begin the conversation to see benefits that your organization could stand to gain by implementing RPA through Task Automator. At this time, we'll open the floor for any questions. Please post them in the chat, and if I cannot answer your question now, we'll reach out to you and we'll answer your question as soon as we can. So Donna has asked, do you need all applications in the prior screen to use the Task Automator? The answer to that is no. You can use Task Automator to interface with any third-party application as well as any of the previously mentioned applications within OnBase. It's not just an OnBase component. You can use it outside of it as well. How many RPA bots can be running at one time on a workstation? At this moment, I don't have that exact information. I'm going to say a lot of that is going to be very system dependent based upon how much processing power you have on that workstation. Dylan is asking, does this work with Oracle? Dylan, I would imagine it does because we do interface with Oracle within OnBase as well. Tim is asking what the pricing is and if we have to pay per bot. The answer to the first question is I would need to get you in touch with your account representative here at Navient. And then as far as paying per bot, no, you don't pay per bot. Once you have the software, you can create as many bots as your system can handle. Can you use Task Automator with App Enabler to assist with displaying images from a third-party application? Part of the purpose of using the bots would be to circumvent using App Enabler. But yes, you should be able to use the bots with App Enabler as well. Are there any other questions? Okay. Let's move on. Thank you for visiting our webinar today. Our next webinar is going to be on enhancing and automating your accounts payable process. And we do really hope that you'll join us at our annual summit to learn about every department in your organization and how it can work better, smarter, and faster with OnBase. From the newest users to the most seasoned executive, this event is truly for everyone. If you're on the offense about attending, simply have a conversation with someone who has been there before. I'm confident you'll be eager to attend this year. Thank you all for joining us today as we began to explore the possibilities of robotic process automation through Hyland's Task Automator. Remember, if you have suggestions for a future webinar topic, or if you would like to inquire about Navient hosted training for your organization, just call or email Navient support. We'll get you in touch with the right people. Everyone have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Thank you very much for attending, and we'll touch base with you soon.